Hidden in Indonesia's forests behind steel gates exists a multi-billion-dollar industry most will never see. Inside climate-controlled facilities, workers move between hundreds of concrete chambers holding living serpents, each one capable of lethal bites, each one worth more than a month's wages. Every year, Indonesia exports over 500,000 python skins and 350,000 cobra skins. A finished python hide sells for $250 to $350 wholesale. That's over $300 million in raw skins alone, reaching billions once transformed into luxury products. That designer handbag retailing for $8,000? Raw skin costs just $280. Farmers risking death daily earn $40 profit per snake. Fashion houses capturing zero risk? They take over 90% of final value. Welcome to Process Crate. Today we're going inside industrial snake farming, where millions of serpents become billions in luxury goods and where danger meets the world's most exclusive fashion. Snake farming isn't about raising snakes. It's about timing. Everything depends on knowing the exact moment when a snake's skin reaches peak value. Too early and the pattern isn't fully developed. Too late and growth marks appear that luxury brands reject instantly. At dawn, farmers move between hundreds of concrete pens, studying each snake with supernatural intensity. A mature python ready for processing has clouded eyes, a pre-shed indicator. The skin between scales separates slightly, creating a dull appearance. The snake becomes aggressive, sensing vulnerability. These biological markers mean one thing: maximum value. Here's what makes this risky. Unlike cattle that can be handled roughly, snakes must stay in perfect condition until the final moment. A single scratch can reduce the skin's value by thousands of dollars. The selection process is ruthless. Farmers track each snake's growth rate, feeding history and genetic lineage on tablets. Premium operations photograph snakes weekly to monitor pattern development. A python with perfectly aligned diamond patterns sells for 5 times more than one with irregular markings. Some farms breed for rare mutations, albino pythons, lavender cobras, producing skins so unique they're auctioned before processing. Harvesting snakeskin is violent, precise, and unforgiving. It must be done in under 90 seconds from pen removal to skin separation. Any longer and muscle contractions damage the hide. Any shorter and mistakes ruin months of work. The harvest room is sterile, temperature controlled to exactly 18 degrees Celsius. Why? At this temperature, snake metabolism slows just enough to reduce reflexive movement without causing skin contraction. Two workers wearing Kevlar sleeves approach. The first guides the snake's head into a clear acrylic tube. The second supports the body, keeping it perfectly straight. Any curves and the skin won't peel evenly. What happens next requires surgical skill. Using a razor-sharp blade, the processor makes one continuous incision from jaw to tail. The cut must be precisely 2 millimeters deep, 1 millimeter too shallow, and the skin won't release. 1 millimeter too deep and blood vessels rupture, staining the hide worthless. The processor grabs the skin at the jawline and begins pulling slowly, evenly. The skin releases like unzipping a jacket, making a soft tearing whisper. If that sound changes pitch, they stop immediately. A change means internal tearing and financial loss. Here's what nobody tells you. The snake is often still conscious. Many facilities use humane stunning first, but traditional farms don't, arguing that post-death muscle tension causes skin contraction. The process takes 75 seconds if done expertly. Once removed, the skin is immediately stretched on a wooden frame with hundreds of tiny pins. The processor pins at specific stress points to prevent curling. The snake's body doesn't waste. Meat goes to restaurants, bones to traditional medicine, organs to pharmaceutical research. But the skin was always the prize. In one facility, this repeats 400 to 600 times daily. Workers process enough skin for 1,000 wallets or 200 handbags per shift. But they can't afford mistakes because perfection isn't a goal, it's the minimum requirement. The harvest is complete, but the transformation is just beginning. Raw snake skin looks nothing like glossy boutique leather. Fresh off the frame, it's rigid, discolored, covered in tissue. Transforming it into something worth $20,000 takes 45 days and processes so chemically intensive that workers wear respirators. Stage 1. Preservation. Dried skins arrive in bundles, get submerged in 23% salt brine for 72 hours, turned every 8 hours for even preservation. Next comes fleshing. Microscopic tissue remains attached to the skin's underside. Specialized machines with rotating blades remove exactly 0.3 millimeters. The smell? Rotten fish mixed with ammonia. Workers rotate every 90 minutes to avoid nausea. This is luxury's dirty secret. Stage 2. Degreasing. Natural oils prevent dye adhesion, so skins wash in enzyme solutions for 6 hours with constant pH monitoring. Too acidic and the skin dissolves. Too alkaline and it becomes brittle. Then tanning. Skins soak in drums containing chromium sulfate for 24 hours, rotating at 12 RPM. This chemical cross-links collagen fibers, creating permanent leather. Premium skins undergo bleaching, buffing, and pattern enhancement. Technicians gently press scale edges, making patterns three-dimensional. This is what buyers pay for. Fashion houses send exact Pantone codes that must match perfectly. Dye masters spend years learning how species absorb pigments differently. Between each, skins dry and are inspected under standardized lighting. Because what looks perfect under LED After dyeing comes finishing, glazing with natural resins for shine, embossing brand logos with heated presses, quality grading under magnification, looking for imperfections invisible to normal vision. Grade 5, A goes to Hermes. Grade 3C goes to outlets. Price difference? Over 4,000%. The transformation is complete, but at what point did we decide this intensive, chemical-laden process was worth it for a handbag? Let's talk money. A single python skin, after processing, sells wholesale for $280 to $650. That same skin, once made into a handbag, retails for $8,000 to $35,000. That's a 3,000% markup. And people pay willingly. Indonesia exports approximately 500,000 python and 350,000 cobra skins annually. That's $300 million at farm level. Once luxury brands add retail markup, we're talking billions in the global fashion economy. But nobody needs a snakeskin handbag. Regular leather costs 1/20th the price and lasts just as long. So why the insane premium? Status signaling. Snakeskin signals wealth in circles where regular designer bags no longer impress. It's functional exclusivity, expensive enough that most can't afford it. Hermes produces only 3,000 to 5,000 exotic Birkin bags yearly despite having supply for 10 times that. Artificial scarcity drives desire. Follow the money. A Javan farmer invests $140 over 3 years, sells the snake for $180, makes $40 profit. The processor spends $60, sells raw skin for $320. The tannery invests $180, sells finished skin for $650. Now here's the wild part. That fashion house cuts the skin, adds $300 in hardware and labor. Total production cost? $1,070. Retail price? $18,500. The brand captures 94% of value despite doing the least dangerous work. The people taking the most risk, farmers handling venomous animals daily, earn the least. Fashion executives taking zero physical risk earn the most. Yet farmers continue expanding because even small margins across hundreds of snakes create $45,000 to $80,000 annually, more than most regional alternatives. But demand is rising 7% annually, driven by Chinese and Middle Eastern wealth. Wild populations can't sustain this, so farming expands. And as it expands, questions arise about sustainability and whether we're creating an industry destined to collapse under its own ethical weight. Depending on who you ask, Indonesian snake farming is either conservation success or ethical nightmare. The truth? Probably both. Before farming became widespread in the 1990s, luxury skin trade relied on wild-caught snakes. This devastated populations. Reticulated python numbers dropped 60% in some regions between 1980 and 1995. Then, farming arrived. Today, 70% of skins come from farms, not forests. Conservationists point to this as proof that farming works. When commercial incentives align with wildlife protection, both win. But critics see normalized mass production of sentient animals for purely aesthetic purposes. Unlike farming chickens for food, a necessity, farming snakes for handbags serves no essential human need. And welfare concerns. Snakes live in concrete pens, often just twice their body length. They're fed on growth-maximizing schedules, not natural behavior. They're handled frequently, causing chronic stress. And they're skinned using methods that, even if technically humane, involve commodification many find deeply uncomfortable. Snake farming isn't uniquely cruel. It's just more visible because the end product is luxury, not necessity. The question isn't whether snake farming is good or bad. The question is whether the luxury it produces is worth the cost it demands. From dark chambers in Indonesia to illuminated boutiques in Paris, the journey of snakeskin is pure transformation. Danger becomes luxury. Fear becomes fashion. Living creatures become objects worth more than most people earn yearly. We've seen the selection where farmers identify maximum value. The 90-second harvest requiring surgical precision. The 45-day transformation through chemical baths. Indonesia will process over 850,000 snakeskins this year. Each represents months of care, minutes of danger, weeks of chemical transformation. Behind every luxury product is a story most brands prefer you don't hear. If this gave you a new perspective, smash that like button and subscribe to Process Crate. We go where other channels won't, into the controversial, complicated realities of how the world's most surprising products are actually made. Thanks for watching Process Crate, and remember, luxury always has a cost.